Hey guys, so I'm going to read you a story today, but right before I do, I wanted to share something with you. So, you know how much I love reptiles. And recently, I have decided that I want to also dabble in amphibians. And if you know anything about amphibians are things like frogs and toads and salamanders. And I actually wanted to get an axolotl a couple of years ago, but didn't just because of having to go back and forth from school to the house would be hard for an axolotl. If you want to know what an axolotl is, maybe I'll find my axolotl book and I'll share it with you sometime. Anyways, so I just wanted to share with you something that I have started that may or may not be ready by the time that school starts. But when it's open house time, or not open house, but meet the teacher night, be sure you come by and say hi to me. I know you'll be meeting your new teachers for first grade, and you're going to be in the other hallway this year because pre-K is moving into the two classrooms that two of the first grade classrooms were in. But anyways, come see me. But I want to share this with you. So, like I said, maybe ready by the time school starts. I'm not sure. So I got this tank from a neighbor, and it's just a glass tank, right? And I was looking online, and one of my friends at work was talking to me about something called bioactive tanks. And bioactive tanks basically means like you're putting in natural stuff that grows and to create a more realistic environment instead of like using all fake stuff. So with that being said, I created a background. I actually built it from hand. I used this stuff called Great Stuff. It's like this foaming stuff, and I sprayed it on the back of the enclosure, and I added this nice big climbing stick, and I'm in the process of making it waterproof right now, so it's still drying. But I built this on the back, and like I said, I super glued this stick in here so that they have something to climb on. And in a day or two, when it's dry, I am going to, sorry, I'm trying to be careful. I am going to put a drainage layer in it, and I'm going to put some soil in it, and I am going to plant some cool plants. I bought some plants, and I had to clean them real good because you don't want to put like stuff in there that's going to possibly make any of the animals sick. And I also got this cool thing. It's inside my bucket right now, but there's they call these cork rounds. It's like a piece of tree. And this thing, ow, it's kind of pokey. It's called a bromeliad. It's like a tropical plant, and it's going to go in that tank too. Frogs love it, my Star Wars bucket. And so I wanted to share that with you. Oh, and did you know that they sell moss at the store? I had to go to the reptarium, but they sell moss. So I'm going to put moss in there too. It's really good for keeping everything nice and humid, because that's what these frogs are used to. So, all right. So, but come see me. Maybe I'll have it set up in the classroom. I don't know. And maybe the critters will be in there by the time you come see me. So I'm going to read this story, A Piglet Named Mercy. I love this author. Her name is, I can't ever figure out which side of the camera I'm on. Katie D. Camillo, and she is an awesome author. She did The Miraculous Journey of Edward Tulane and a couple of other things. She's got some really good books that you'll probably read when you get a little bit older. So this book is called A Piglet Named Mercy. And there's several of these books. This is the first one, though. This is the book that introduces you to Mercy. All right. Mr. and Mrs. Watson lived in a house on Deckawoo Drive. Deckawoo Drive was an ordinary street in an ordinary town. Looks like it. And Mr. and Mrs. Watson were ordinary people who did ordinary things in ordinary ways. I like how they drew musical notes to show that he was either humming or whistling. It's kind of like motion lines that tell you somebody is moving, but these musical notes tell you somebody is singing or whistling or humming. Pretty smart. Maybe you can use that in some of your writing. One day, Mrs. Watson said to Mr. Watson, "I wonder if we aren't just the tiniest bit too predictable." "Predictable? Us?" said Mr. Watson. "Surely not. It's just that sometimes I wish that something different would happen," said Mrs. Watson. "Things are just fine as they are," said Mr. Watson. This is what we call foreshadowing. Foreshadowing, I don't know if we talked about this or not, but foreshadowing is where they kind of give you a hint about something that might be happening in the future. Because she's telling you, we're predictable. I wish something different would happen. I bet something different is going to happen. It's called foreshadowing. But then something different did happen. Dun, dun, dun. Molson's Pig Transport. And look right here. Motion lines. What happened? Oh no, a baby pig fell out of the back of the truck. Wonder what's going to happen. Someone very small and not at all ordinary found her way to the Watsons' house on Deckawoo Drive. And you notice how their porch light is on, but theirs isn't. There's the truck with the pigs, and it's got some little smoke coming out the back. And there is Mercy. Mr. Watson made the discovery when he opened the door for the morning paper. "Mrs. Watson," he called, "come here," or "come see." That's what happens when you read sideways. "Oh, the little dear," said Miss Watson. Said the piglet. "I think she's hungry," said Mr. Watson. Look at her face. "Is that a pig?" said Eugenia Lincoln. Eugenia Lincoln lived next door, and she did not approve of surprises or pigs. "It is," said Mrs. Watson. "Can you believe our luck?" "Don't be ridiculous," said Eugenia Lincoln. "A pig is not lucky at all." I mean, I disagree, but okay. She doesn't look very friendly anyways. Ooh. "Do you think perhaps the piglet would like a bottle of warm milk?" said Baby Lincoln. Baby was Eugenia's younger sister, and she was fond of surprises and piglets. So that's her name. Her name is Baby, the lady in the purple shirt. Mr. Watson scratched his head. "A bottle of milk? I don't know. This is all so unpredictable. Leave it to me, said baby Lincoln, said the piglet again. Mrs. Watson picked up the piglet and took her inside. She wrapped her in a blanket. Have you ever seen anyone so darling? She said. Never, said Mr. Watson. Here's the warm milk, said baby Lincoln. I have it right here. Eugenia said, This is absurd. Absurd kind of means another word for like crazy. The piglet did not think it was absurd at all. She drank the entire bottle. Then she burped. Bleh. And oinked. And went looking for more. Oh, look at those movement lines. Whoop! She jumped right out of that blanket. Oh my goodness, said Mr. Watson. Watch out, said Eugenia. She seems like to like toast very much, said baby. Oh, darling, darling thing, said Mrs. Watson. Oh, look. But look at her face. She hopped right up there. Mr. Watson, said Mrs. Watson, perhaps you would like to hold her for a bit? Certainly, said Mr. Watson. He took the piglet in his arms. He rocked her. He hummed. How extraordinary, said Mr. Watson. She is porcine wonder. She's a porcine wonder. This piglet is a wish come true, said Mrs. Watson. What a mercy she is, said baby. There you go, said Mr. Watson. We will call her Mercy. She's not a mercy, said Eugenia. She is a pig, said the piglet. You cannot name a pig Mercy, shouted Eugenia. I say she should mind her own business. But they did name her Mercy. She was entirely unpredictable. She was not at all ordinary, and she was very, very loved. Just like you are very loved. And like I said, there are other Mercy Watkins books. Maybe you can find one at the library. Or maybe I'll read another one sometime, but I think my other ones are at school. All right, guys. I'll see you later. Love you.